HomeFix is made possible on Idaho Public Television by Home Adventure Magazine, your guide to the home building industry, available in the Treasure Valley, Portland, and Salt Lake City. By Cargo Plus Trailers by Circle J, trailers manufactured for small business and construction professionals to protect and transport your valuable stuff. And by Bosch Power Tools, engineered and designed for safety and durability to meet the needs for woodworking and the construction industry.
Here it is.
Plans.
Today's project.
It's better than the last plan you drew me, just on the wall with things.
This is a little more detailed.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Joe Pran.
I'm Stan Mackey.
Today's project here on HomeFix is building a new deck. Actually, we're going to add on to one that we've got here.
Well, so it's kind of a dual project. We're adding on to an existing deck and building a whole new system.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. The homeowners here would like to have a hot tub and a beautiful view of the mountains, so right about where our camera is sitting is going to be the middle of the hot tub. We're going to take the old decking off behind me here, recycle it, and use it for the joisting system in the new deck, cover this with new material that's going to match all the new material on the new deck.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we started staking it out here. Let's go take a look at that.
Yeah, let's look.
All right,
still
if I
trying
can
to
get
figure
up.
out this.
Now, Stan, when you said we were going to have a couple of steaks in this guy's backyard, I was really picturing something else, you know, medium rare and about that thick.
I see. No.
Wait, I got to get ready for deck building.
It actually came to a square point, too.
Yeah.
I'll bet we measured that.
This is probably the most important part about building your deck, is getting the initial layout exactly where you want it. This is going to affect the rest of the building process from here on out, so spend a lot of time string lining out where your deck is going to be, all the posts, the joists, everything.
Right.
Let me borrow your tape measure.
Oh, sure. That's why I brought it.
Now, one of the good ways to check this to make sure that everything is square, and we've got this coming off on an angle from the house, it's a good old 3-4-5 rule. All right, there's 4 feet right here.
4 feet right here.
All right, so we measure over down the string to that point there.
Yeah.
Measure across this one, 3 feet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when you connect the two, you should have 5.
Connect the dots.
Back to basic old geometry.
Does it say 5 feet?
Yeah, it says we're 5 feet exactly.
Oh, good.
Imagine that.
Then it's square.
Well, this is television, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-4-5
We did that
rule.
the first time, too.
3, 4, and the diagonal becomes 5. You know that you're nice and square. Double check everything. Triple check everything.
Triple check.
All right. These are just here just for visual.
Right.
Had our customer approve where everything was going to go here. Now, the next point in this process is to clear the landscape and get it ready. Because now that we know where all the perimeter of the deck is going to be, now we can check for the sprinkler heads, start moving those out of the way, get rid of some of the existing landscaping that's in the wrong spots, clear it out, then we'll be ready to start assembling the deck.
Sounds like physical labor.
It is. Now we get to go to work. Let's get going.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I think that's about as much fun as I can have for one day.
Yeah, the nursery guy's got nothing to worry about.
No, they don't.
That's
Got
hard.
the sod all cut out. Got our sprinklers all moved. All the old decking boards are out. Spray painted the line where the deck's going to be again. We're ready to start building.
Let's
We'll
go.
do it in the morning.
Yeah, dig holes and pour concrete.
Actually, we're not going to do that. We're going to make Dan and Dustin do that.
That's what they're for.
Yeah, they work tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. You'll be back in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, we'll get the sod cleaned up and...
We? What do you mean we?
Yeah, we'll let them do it.
Yeah.
Back in a little bit. Well, we got a beautiful morning going
Did you
here.
order this wind up special?
Yeah, just for our show. We
I
ordered
hate
some
the wind.
Well, here's what we've been doing for about the last hour or so. We went and rented a post hole digger and punched some holes in the ground. Went down about 16 inches with these things. Then what we're doing is we're setting in these wet post anchors mixed with concrete, putting these into the cement, and then getting this measured to where the bottom of the anchor is 5.5 inches off of our string line. And what that's for is we're going to be using a double 2x6 joist to set inside of these. Okay, now this one, we needed to ride it. Right over to the side a little bit. Now let me see how tall he is. Oh, are we good or what?
Oh.
Right about there.
Good guesstimate, huh?
Yep. Now this one, even though it's off of the string line a little bit, that's because it's going to actually be over a little further.
Oh, I see.
But for what we're doing here, this will be just peachy.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, it's 5.5.
5.5?
5.5.
5.5.
Ready for the last one?
Well, yeah.
Okay, now these posts here, this hole's partially filled already. These are 2 feet deep. Wait, back up. Pushing it over. There we go. These are 2 feet deep. These aren't in metal anchors because all these are going to do is catch just the little tongue end of the deck here. This all makes sense when you start seeing us put the joisting together here in a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. I suppose you're supposed to wear gloves for this, aren't you?
That's why I've got gloves on. I would do that.
But look who's doing this.
Well, you just jumped right in.
As usual.
You just jumped right in.
Now to construct the beams that we're using for part of the substructure here, what we did is we recycled the decking boards that were on top of here, made the sandwich like you make a beam to end up with the 3.5 inches thick by putting a piece of 1/2 inch plywood in between. All right? There's going to be joists running in between this. So this will be actually set down a little bit lower than what the thing needs to be. This is called the joist hanger. This is a 4x6 joist hanger that fits around the beam, right like that.
Yep.
That's going to sit down in here. Okay. What we're using to attach these on is a little palm nailer. Get your finger out of there.
Just finding the hole.
This works great for putting in joist hanger nails and in tight spots. We're going to have lots of those here in a little bit.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's check this beam for being level.
Okay, well, get a level.
Roughly, and then we'll
there it is.
Attach into the hangers down there. This end's pretty good. Okay, set that one in there. Okay, go your ways. Yeah, lift up and go your way. Right to... Now for these connections where we cut that with the reciprocating saw, we're going to take and just nail these in and then bend some metal plates and shoot them in there like we did. But one thing I want to point out is anytime you're doing any nailing like this, they need to be galvanized fasteners unless they're the hardened nails like the joist hanger nails. So get that level. Okay, hold that. Then we're going to come back and knock the top edge off of these and make them nice and flat. That one marked?
No. I can't. My hand ain't small enough to get in there.
Okay.
Okay, I got it, I think. Turn it over and look.
You got it?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Okay.
Well, if you want to cut that.
I will.
We got the joisting pretty much done on this deck. I'd just like to remind you here on something. You got it?
It's heavy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What we did on this is all of the material that was used for the bottom part of this deck over here, this is all recycled material from the deck that's over here. If you follow along over here, all the deck boards that were on top of this section is what we're using to build this part of the deck over here. And we've got that just about completed. Stan's got 2 more boards to cut and we'll put those in here. Now the other thing is the wood polymer decking that we're using on this section of the deck is only good for a span of 16 inches. And the old redwood section of this deck, this is laid out on 24-inch centers. So we're going to come back through here and put another one every 16 inches. So we're going to have some of them close together. We'll be able to use every fourth one or so and just put some new ones in. Now we could move these and add other ones to them. We're just going to put new material in. Now, the joist hangers that we're using, every single piece of the joisting material is hung on a joist hanger. And what we're doing there is we're doing that for a couple reasons. One, it adds a little bit of strength to it. And it also helps in the movement of the wood over time from loosening up. So we shoot these on just like you saw earlier on the 4x6 hangers. And then the wood that he cuts will just drop right in here. We'll save that side till we get the other one. That's pretty much going to wrap that up. Our next move here now is to go ahead and connect over here underneath this window with a section of decking. We're going to drill into the concrete and put anchors in here because eventually this window is going to become a doorway out onto the deck. Now you may ask why we are going to be putting these posts in.
Okay, I'll do that. How come you're putting those posts in?
Okay, these posts are for a decorative handrail here. They really have no structural value. We set the last two in concrete just to pick up the end of the deck here.
Right.
But this one's just a pretty post.
Just a pretty
That's all it's doing.
Okay.
Thought I'd show one other thing too here, and that's the bottom of the post down here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to a close-up on that. But what that is that's there for the purpose of keeping moisture from wicking up the bottom of the post. Two ways you can do that. One is to put the little flat cap on the bottom of the post like that, or just make sure your post isn't touching the ground. We just wanted to show you both ways. Now, I'm countersinking these bolt holes for two reasons. One is we're going to be putting a metal skirt on the outside of this, so there's no painting or staining that ever has to be done to this part of the deck.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because we got a maintenance-free deck surface going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to make this, not only that, we got to cover up the old wood.
Well, yeah, it was kind of ugly.
Okay, so the heads of the carriage bolts have to be countersunk into these holes, right?
Sure, right.
Okay, that's reason number one.
Okay, you too.
Reason number two,
Yeah.
why we're countersinking those,
Yes.
is because I bought bolts that were an inch too short. I was thinking we were only going through one layer too.
Oh, I see.
Oh well, that
Okay,
happens.
All right. Well, what the heck?
Yeah. That's some wet redwood. Okay.
It's brand new. They just run a bunch of owls out there and chopped it down.
Probably. Oh, those people are going to get you. That's Stan Mackey in care of Idaho Public Television. No. Okay, now that you screwed up the threads on that end, I'll see if you can get the nut on there.
I did not screw up the threads on that end. It's just, it's wood. This is metal.
Okay, all right.
I know what I'm doing.
Now here's a neat little trick that just might save you some aggravation down the road when you build your deck. We had one of the vinyl and metal siding companies in town make up some of this channel for us. The color on this matches the trim work that's on our house here. And this is a vinyl coated metal. I think it's steel. Yeah, this is the steel.
Yes.
Vinyl coated steel. It's called coil stock that we had them bend to match our 2x6 profile here. And what we're going to do is put that right on like this, see? And then that's going to skirt our deck so that we don't have to worry about sprinkler systems or anybody chewing that up with a weed whacker of some kind. Now we just got to make it fit around the corners. I don't like to joint it right on the corner because creates a sharp edge, so we're just going to snip this and then fold it around the corner. You know, I probably ought to go grab a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
Before I rip myself to
You'll
shreds.
notice I have mine.
Yeah, but you're always the one that gets hurt.
Yeah, well, that's why I have mine on.
Okay, now see, we just make those 2 cuts right there. Now, if you pull that over towards you,
yes,
it'll fold right on there.
Yeah.
Look at that, huh?
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Cool, cool.
Now this wood polymer lumber that we're using, this is a 5/4 material, it's called. All right? It's 5/4 of an inch thick, so it's 1.25 inches thick. Nice rounded edges on here. And is also 5.5 inches wide. All right, so it's similar to a 2x6, just a little bit thinner. This is made out of recycled materials. It's recycled wood fibers and plastic grocery sacks and shrink wrap material is what they use to make this. So knowing that this is 5.5 inches, we're going to start out here and run a chalk line across our joists to make sure that we're running parallel to the edge of our decks and square off of the sides. Now what's really neat about working with this material, one of the things we like is that as the screw goes in, watch where the head of the screw goes. Okay, it goes right down below the surface. You just tuck this over like that, hit it with a hammer after you're all done building your deck, virtually disappears. Well, we've come to an interesting point on this deck, and that's turning the corner. Because our boards that are running this way, this worked out real nice being the full-length boards, of course. Now we got to start heading the other direction. So our joists now change from running this way to running perpendicular again to the decking material. Now what we've done, every place where the boards are going to come together like this down here, is we've passed a router over the edge of it to round it off to match the outside edge of the decking. Okay, so these pieces are going to go on here. I'll get these put on and then show you how we trim them off to make the edges look nice. Right down here at the bottom of these posts, you can see where we've taken our decking material and gone around them. What we did is we just cut that out with a jigsaw and run a router around it just to dress the edge. Now it's the same thing we're going to do right over here. We'll start back here. We're using a 3/4 roundover bit, which gives us a radius that matches our decking material. Already start putting on the handrail here on this deck, so I want to show you how this is constructed. This is probably one of the easiest to assemble handrails that there is. It does take a little bit of cutting and fitting, so you're going to need a miter saw, your tape measure, level, and the basic hand tools, also the cordless drill and the screws again here. What we're going to do is set the first 2x4 on the bottom of the handrail at 3.5 inches over the surface of the deck. Now we chose that measurement for one very simple reason. It's the width of a 2x4, so I can just cut little blocks, put them underneath there, and set that one on there. I don't like running the handrail all the way to the deck because here in Idaho at least, when we need to shovel snow off, we want to be able to broom it out from underneath or use a shovel on it. The top handrail is going to be set at 34.5 inches, which is where this one has been cut to. These posts here will be trimmed off after I get the top rail in and nice and level. Now what we're going to use for what's called a baluster is another piece of redwood. It's pre-cut into a 2x2 dimension, and these are going to set right on here like this. Now originally on this house, the handrail, and that's why we're trying to match this to what's out front, was put in with nails, but I don't like to do that because just kicking it or bumping it against it, the nails always seem to pull out. So we're going to pre-drill these 2x2s and put screws into them to hold that. The top cap of the handrail is going to be constructed out of a 2x6 because the diagonal side of a 4x4 is larger than what a 2x4 would do. And we are having to come across this on some diagonals. That's going to cap over the top of this and cover up the top tips of the baluster material that's coming down underneath here. Now building code calls for the balusters to be spaced no more than 4 inches apart. And the rationale behind that is if a small child is playing in here, you don't want their head to be able to get stuck in between the two balusters. Originally this house was constructed with 6-inch spacing, which was okay at that time, but we're going to go ahead and construct this at 4-inch spacing to meet the current codes. We're also going to take an angle off the tip of the balusters down at the very bottom. The way that I found is easiest to do this is just leave them in the bundle like this and cut the 45-degree angle first. That cuts through the whole stack to where now all we have to do is just trim them to length, and I've done 9 of them at the same time. That's nice and warm.
Ooh, that's nice and warm. I like that. Here, let that down.
Hey, it's all done.
Yes, it is.
It's all done.
We're finished.
How come you're so short on camera?
Because you're standing on the steps we built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all finished up here at our deck project. People that live here have been enjoying it for about the past week. We've got a few little things to take care of, but not much. We decided not to go ahead and paint these or stain them in any fashion. We're going to let the handrails just weather out to a nice silvery gray like natural redwood does. That's going to match a lot of the woodwork that's around the rest of the property here, as well as the color of the house too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go look at some of the other stuff we did.
Okay.
We did a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, yeah. Now here's one thing that I like doing in these decks. Well, you can come down here too, you know.
You said you were going to kneel down there.
I like incorporating some different types of mediums when I do my outdoor landscaping and decking. And one of those I like bringing into a lot of the wood look is something that has a more harder surface, some stone.
Concrete certainly has a much harder surface.
Yeah. That's a great do-it-yourself project. I mean, you could do just this part very easily and very affordably. I think the materials that were all used in here were less than $200 for the total here.
We may actually do that in a future show.
Possibly. Well, they've already talked about here maybe doing another walkway over around the side of the building to match this. But this creates zones. This is what we were talking about once before. The whole idea of a backyard living environment is to have different zones where activities are going to take place. Now, one of the other things that I like to build into decks is some type of a storage area for those outdoor things that you just don't want to keep inside the house. In this case, this is going to be for some of the patio furniture, cushions, barbecue tools, gardening tools, and what have you. What this is this is a simple wood structure, again, made out of the redwood and always attached with the galvanized fasteners everywhere that we do that because it's exposed, covered with the wood polymer material over a simple framework to contain all of this stuff, pool chemicals, things like we talked about inside the benching here. This just sits right down on top of there, sits nice and flush, plus provides a really nice, deep, and solid surface here that you can use this for sitting on for a lot of people, or even laying out or drying towels on, or anything that you want to do, even putting plants on top of these.
Hey, that's it for now, though.
I'm Joe Prin.
I'm Stan Mackey.
Be with us right here for the next episode of HomeFix.
Maybe it won't be as windy the next
I hope not. I hope summer's going to be
blowing like a son of a gun.